How to make any woman obsessed with you. 25 psychology tricks all men need to know. Most guys think they're doing everything right, sending the right texts, saying the right things, trying to be the perfect guy, yet they still get ghosted, ignored, or stuck in the friend zone. It's frustrating, right? The truth is, while you're figuring things out, someone else might already be making her obsessed instead. And here's the crazy part. It's not because he's better looking, richer, or smoother than you. It's because he knows a few subtle psychological triggers that women are naturally drawn to on a deep, almost subconscious level. In this video, I'm going to share 25 powerful mind hacks that will completely flip the way women see you. These are advanced techniques that tap into her emotions and desires in ways she won't even realize are happening. And if you stick around until the very last one, you'll discover a secret almost no one talks about. A technique so rare that once you use it, you'll never have to chase a woman again, because she'll be chasing you. 1. Trigger her sense of rare discovery. There's a reason people line up overnight for a limited edition sneaker drop or go wild for a rare collectible. Humans are wired to crave what feels scarce and exclusive. Women are no different. If you want her obsessed, you must position yourself as a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Most guys flood women with availability. They answer every text in seconds, reveal their entire life story on the first date, and make their attention as common as tap water. The problem? Anything abundant feels replaceable. Instead, think of yourself like a mystery novel with missing pages. When she's with you, give her just enough to stay hooked, but never the full picture. Maybe you mention a wild adventure you once had, but leave out the ending. Maybe you briefly allude to a big dream you're working toward, but never fully explain the details. This subtle withholding doesn't frustrate her. It activates the same part of the brain that drives people to binge watch a TV series. Her mind becomes desperate to solve you, and the only way she can do that is by spending more time with you. Here's the key. Don't fake a mysterious persona. Actually cultivate a life with layers, passions, skills, and experiences she can slowly uncover. When she realizes she hasn't met anyone like you before, her mind tags you as rare, and that rarity makes you addictive. 2. Create micro shifts in your energy. Predictability is the enemy of emotional intensity. If she can always predict how you'll react, she'll start running on autopilot around you. And autopilot never leads to obsession. You don't need to be erratic or play games, but you do need to create small, unexpected shifts in your vibe that keep her alert and invested. Imagine you're at dinner. Most guys keep their mood steady the entire time. Same tone of voice, same expressions, same safe compliments. That's forgettable. Now imagine this instead. You're deeply engaged in a playful conversation, then you suddenly pause, look her in the eye, and get quiet for a moment as if you're truly taking her in. That brief shift snaps her attention back to you like a rubber band. These micro shifts work because they interrupt her emotional rhythm, which forces her brain to focus harder on you. The more her brain works to read you, the more invested she becomes. It's the same principle that makes roller coasters thrilling. Small moments of calm followed by sudden drops or turns. Over time, these subtle fluctuations make her feel like she's on a private ride she never wants to get off. She doesn't consciously think, he's unpredictable. She just feels a magnetic pull she can't explain. 3. Link your presence to her dopamine spikes. Here's a wild truth most men never realize. Obsession isn't built through logic or even attraction. It's built through association. If her brain starts connecting you with surges of dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical, she'll start craving you the way people crave their favorite song or food. But here's the twist. You don't have to be the source of the dopamine. You just need to be there when it happens. Let's say she loves spontaneous adventures. Instead of planning a date that's just dinner and conversation, invite her to something thrilling she already enjoys. A quirky street festival, a late-night drive to a hidden lookout, or even something as simple as surprising her with her favorite dessert spot after a long day. When her dopamine spikes because of the fun experience, her brain automatically pairs that feeling with you. Over time, seeing you will trigger that same chemical rush, even when you're just hanging out on the couch. This is why you must be mindful of when and how you show up. If you only see her during boring, mundane routines, she'll subconsciously link you to boredom. But if every interaction has at least one moment of genuine excitement, her body will physically crave your presence without her even knowing why. 4. Make her feel uniquely understood. Here's something most guys don't get. Women don't fall for the man who compliments them the most. They fall for the man who sees them the most. Everyone walks through life feeling misunderstood on some level. Even confident, popular women often feel like nobody truly gets them beneath the surface. When you're the rare man who notices the small, hidden parts of her, it creates a powerful psychological bond. This doesn't mean fake deep conversations or generic lines like, I understand you. That's obvious and forgettable. Instead, pay attention to the details she doesn't even notice about herself. Maybe she slightly tilts her head when she's excited, or her voice gets softer when she talks about something that matters deeply to her. Then, casually reflect these observations back to her at unexpected moments. For example, I can tell when you're really passionate about something. Your whole energy shifts like you're trying to protect that part of yourself. This kind of statement hits her core because it shows you've been truly watching her, not just waiting for your turn to talk. Suddenly, she feels emotionally naked in front of you, in the best way. That vulnerability creates a rush of intimacy she'll struggle to replicate with anyone else. Here's the catch. Don't overuse this. If you're constantly psychoanalyzing her, it becomes overwhelming. Sprinkle these moments sparingly, and each one will land like a lightning strike. 5. Become the calm in her storm. Most men try to win women over by matching their energy. If she's excited, they get excited. If she's anxious, they try to cheer her up with endless words. This actually backfires. Why? Because women are already surrounded by chaos. Work stress, social drama, inner doubts. It's like she's living in a constant hurricane. If you want to stand out, you must become the eye of that hurricane. Calm, steady, unshakable. This doesn't mean being cold or emotionless. It means embodying a grounded presence that naturally soothes her nervous system. When she's venting about her rough day, instead of jumping in with solutions or platitudes, simply sit with her, listen deeply, and respond slowly. Something powerful happens in her brain when she realizes, I can unravel around him, and he doesn't flinch. Suddenly, you're not just a guy she likes, you're her safe space. And safety is one of the most addictive feelings a human can experience. Over time, she'll start to associate you with relief. The more storms she faces in life, the more she'll crave the peaceful anchor only you provide. 6. Plant subtle seeds of future vision. Most men talk about the future either too soon or not at all. Both extremes kill obsession. If you bring up marriage, kids, or moving in together before she's deeply invested, it feels like pressure. If you never hint at a shared future, she subconsciously assumes you're temporary. The trick is to plant seeds of a future together in ways that feel effortless and playful. For example, if you're watching a movie set in another country, you might casually say, if we ever went there, you'd probably drag me to every street market, wouldn't you? This tiny comment does two things. It paints a mental picture of you and her in a future scenario, and it does so without heavy commitment language. Her mind begins to imagine experiences with you down the road, which creates emotional momentum. Here's why this works. The human brain can't easily distinguish between vividly imagined memories and real ones. By sprinkling these playful visions into your conversations, you make her feel like she's already building a life with you, and she'll want more of that feeling. 7. Use silence as a weapon. Most men fear silence with women. They rush to fill every pause with chatter, jokes, or questions because they think silence equals awkwardness. But here's the truth. Silence, when used correctly, is magnetic. When you're comfortable with stillness, it signals two powerful things to her subconscious: confidence and control. It tells her, I don't need to perform for you. I'm already enough. Picture this. You're walking together after dinner. Instead of nervously talking about random topics, you simply enjoy the night air in silence for a moment, then glance at her with a slow, knowing smile. That pause creates tension, the good kind. Silence also gives her space to project her own thoughts and feelings onto you. Her mind starts spinning. What's he thinking? Is he feeling the same way I am? That mental curiosity becomes fuel for obsession. The key is balance. Too much silence feels distant. Too little feels needy. Use it like seasoning, just enough to make her crave the next word you speak. 8. Tap into her unspoken rebellions. Every woman has a part of her that feels caged. By expectations, by family, by society, even by her own image of who she should be. It's the quiet, rebellious streak she hides, because showing it would disrupt the version of herself everyone else believes in. Most men never touch this side of her. They play it safe, keeping conversations surface level and interactions predictable. But if you can gently awaken her hidden rebellion, she'll feel an electrifying sense of freedom around you that becomes impossible to forget. Here's how. Watch for the tiny hints she drops about her deeper desires. Maybe she mentions wanting to travel alone but never having the courage. Maybe her laugh gets a little wilder when she talks about ditching her responsibilities for a spontaneous night out. Instead of encouraging her with cliches like, you should totally do that, lean in and say something like, I get the feeling there's a whole version of you that no one else has met yet. Boom. You've named the secret part of her she thought no one could see. Now every time she's around you, that side of her wakes up. She'll crave you because you represent liberation, the chance to step outside her cage, even if only for a while. 9. Playfully disrupt her patterns. Humans live on autopilot most of the time. She has routines, habits, and predictable social scripts she follows without thinking. That's why so many conversations and relationships feel dull. They never break her mental rhythm. To make her obsessed, you must become a pattern breaker. This doesn't mean being random or chaotic. It means gently surprising her in ways that wake her brain up. Example, she's used to people greeting her with, "Hey, how are you?" Instead, you might smirk and say, "Okay, don't tell me what you should say. Tell me what you actually feel right now." Suddenly, she's out of autopilot and fully present with you. Another example, if she's always the one leading conversations, flip the script. Go quiet for a moment and let her step into that space. The slight discomfort will make her lean toward you, wondering what you're thinking. These tiny disruptions keep her mentally engaged. Her subconscious begins to associate you with aliveness, and before she knows it, she's hooked on the way you make the world feel less predictable. 10. Build tension, then release it strategically. Obsession isn't created by constant pleasure. It's created by a dance between tension and release. Think about your favorite song. The verse builds suspense, then the chorus delivers the payoff. That dynamic is what makes music addictive. You can apply the same principle to attraction. Withhold your full attention at times, then give her a sudden burst of warmth. Tease her playfully, then switch to genuine sincerity for a brief moment. Pull back slightly when she leans in, then lean forward when she least expects it. Here's a subtle move. During a conversation, let your eye contact linger a half-second longer than normal, then casually glance away and change the subject. That micro moment creates a delicious tension in her body. Later, when you laugh at her joke or compliment her unexpectedly, that tension releases, and the emotional high locks you deeper into her psyche. The mistake most men make is staying stuck in one mode, either too cold or too available. Balance is key. Too much tension feels cruel. Too much release feels boring. Dance between the two like a skilled musician, and she'll feel like she's addicted to a rhythm only you can play. 11. Reveal your flaws with purpose. Most guys try to look perfect in front of women. They hide their insecurities, exaggerate their achievements, and present a flawless version of themselves. But here's the paradox. Perfection doesn't create obsession. Vulnerability does. When you selectively reveal small, genuine flaws, it triggers something called the pratfall effect, the psychological principle that people become more attractive when they show imperfections in the right context. For example, maybe you casually mention that you once got lost on the way to a job interview and ended up accidentally crashing a wedding reception. It's self-deprecating, charming, and human. The key is balance. Don't unload deep trauma or spiral into self-pity. Instead, share light, authentic moments that show you're real. This works because it creates contrast. When you demonstrate competence and strength most of the time, then sprinkle in flashes of imperfection, she feels like she's been let behind the curtain to see the real you. That access is intoxicating. She'll want to be the one person who truly knows both your shine and your shadows. 12. Anchor physical sensations to your presence. Here's a trick few men ever think about. You can use the power of anchoring to make her body physically crave you. Anchoring is when the brain links a specific sensation to a person or experience. It's why smelling a certain perfume can suddenly remind you of an ex. You can intentionally create this effect with her. Let's say every time you greet her, you give a subtle, unique touch, maybe a light squeeze of her shoulder paired with a warm smile. Over time, her nervous system will begin to associate that exact touch with the flood of emotions she feels around you. Later, when you're not even present, she might catch herself craving that sensation without fully understanding why. You can also anchor through shared experiences. If there's a particular song playing during an incredible moment together, that song becomes tied to you in her mind. Weeks later, when she hears it alone, the emotional memory will surge back, making her miss you intensely. Anchoring works best when it's consistent but not obvious. If she realizes you're doing it on purpose, the magic fades. Keep it subtle, and it becomes a secret thread tying her body and mind to yours. 13. Speak to the version of her she wants to become. Most men focus on complimenting who she is right now. Her looks, her intelligence, her sense of humor. That's fine, but it's also basic. The real power lies in speaking to who she wants to be, the future version of herself she secretly dreams about. To do this, you need to listen closely. Maybe she talks about wanting to start her own business, travel the world, or become more adventurous. Instead of just nodding, frame your words in a way that reflects her potential. For instance, you might say, "You strike me as the kind of person who's going to leave a pretty wild mark on the world. I can see it in how fired up you get when you talk about your ideas." This does two things. It makes her feel deeply seen, and it subtly links you to her journey toward that ideal self. Now, when she imagines her future, your presence is woven into the image. People become obsessed with anyone who makes them feel closer to the person they most want to be. If you can hold that mirror up for her, she'll never want to let you go. 14. Let her chase mystery, not clarity. Here's a mistake almost every man makes. They think clarity builds security, and security builds attraction. While security has its place, too much clarity kills desire. If she always knows exactly how you feel, exactly where you stand, and exactly what you'll do next, her imagination goes dormant. Without imagination, obsession dies. You don't need to play manipulative games. Just hold back a small percentage of your inner world. Maybe you don't instantly explain why you smiled when she said something funny. Maybe you take a solo weekend trip without broadcasting every detail. This isn't about secrecy. It's about intrigue. When she senses there are depths to you she hasn't explored, her mind will work overtime trying to uncover them. That curiosity is like a fire that never stops burning. Think of it like your favorite novel. If the author told you the ending on page 2, you'd stop reading. Keep a few pages unturned, and she'll keep turning toward you. 15. Make withdrawal part of the cycle. Most guys either give too much or too little attention consistently. The real magic happens when you create a natural ebb and flow, giving her moments of deep connection, then pulling back slightly to let her miss you. This works because humans value what they have to reach for. If you're constantly available, she never has a chance to feel your absence. Without absence, there's no longing. Without longing, there's no obsession. The trick is subtlety. You don't need to suddenly disappear for days. That just feels manipulative. Instead, after a particularly intimate moment, go quiet for a short while. Maybe you take a night to focus on your hobbies or friends. Her mind will replay the last moment you shared, filling the gap with desire. When you return, the reunion feels electric. Over time, this creates a rhythm, connection, slight withdrawal, reconnection. Her emotions will rise and fall like waves, and you'll be the ocean she can't stop swimming in. 16. Be the mirror that reflects her ideal. When a woman looks at you, she should feel like she's looking at a version of herself she's proud of. This isn't about faking a personality or copying her interests. It's about subtly mirroring the qualities she admires most in herself or wishes she had. Let's say she values creativity but often feels like her life has become repetitive and dull. When she's around you, speak passionately about your own creative pursuits. Or even better, invite her into them. You become living proof that her deeper desires are valid and achievable. This creates a powerful psychological effect. Every time she sees you, she sees hope for her own unrealized potential. Suddenly, being near you isn't just about romance, it's about self-actualization. Over time, she won't just crave you as a partner. She'll crave you as a reflection of the best version of herself. That's obsession at its purest form. 17. Harness the power of almost. One of the strongest forces in human psychology is the near miss, the moment something almost happens but doesn't fully land. Casinos use this principle all the time. When you almost hit the jackpot, your brain releases a rush of dopamine and locks you into wanting more. You can create this dynamic in attraction by letting moments of intimacy hover just out of reach. Maybe you lean in like you might kiss her, then whisper something playful instead. Maybe your hand brushes hers, lingers for a heartbeat, then retreats. These near misses build a backlog of unspent energy. Her body becomes hypersensitive to you, craving the release that hasn't come yet. The mistake many men make is either rushing to close the gap or never creating it at all. The magic is in the almost, the lingering tension that makes her imagination run wild. 18. Use scarcity of words, not attention. Most guys think being mysterious means disappearing or withholding time. That often backfires, making her feel insecure or resentful. Instead, focus on the scarcity of words. When you speak, keep your sentences clean and intentional. Let there be space between your statements, especially when you share something meaningful. For example, instead of saying, "I think you're really beautiful and fun to be around and I like spending time with you," simply say, "You make it hard to leave." Then, silence. Her mind will rush to fill that silence with meaning. She'll analyze your tone, your expression, even your breathing. This psychological vacuum draws her deeper into you because she's actively participating in decoding you. It's not about saying less to be cold, it's about saying less to create depth. Every word you do speak will carry extra weight, like rare currency she treasures. 19. Let her feel chosen, not chased. There's a subtle but critical difference between a man who chases and a man who chooses. Chasing implies desperation, like you'll take anyone who gives you attention. Choosing, on the other hand, implies abundance and discernment. To make her obsessed, she must feel like you had options, and you selected her. Here's how you embody this without arrogance. When she shares something impressive about herself, don't overreact with praise. Instead, give a slight nod and a slow smile, like you're mentally confirming she's meeting your high standards. Your vibe should say, "You're incredible, and that's exactly why you're in my life." This creates a dynamic where she feels valued, not because you need her, but because you want her. This is deeply addictive for women because it validates their worth while simultaneously keeping the power balance healthy. She'll keep investing in you to continually earn that sense of being uniquely chosen. 20. Create a private world only you two share. Public relationships are one thing, but what truly bonds two people is a secret world, a private universe of inside jokes, subtle gestures, and unspoken rules. Maybe you have a playful nickname for her that no one else knows. Maybe there's a specific glance you exchange across a crowded room that says, "We're on the same wavelength." This hidden world acts like an invisible thread tying her to you. Whenever she's in public or surrounded by other men, a simple reminder of that secret bond will flood her with warmth and longing. The beauty of this technique is that it's self-reinforcing. The more private memories you create, the more exclusive your connection feels. She'll become obsessed because no one else can access the intimacy you've built. 21. Introduce micro-jealousy, carefully. Jealousy is like fire. It can warm a home or burn it down. Used recklessly, it destroys trust. But when applied subtly, it can heighten desire and remind her of your value. The goal isn't to make her insecure, but to gently remind her that you're desirable to others. For example, if a waitress compliments your choice of drink, smile politely and move on without making a big deal. This creates a fleeting moment where she realizes other women notice you. Her subconscious reacts with a small spike of protective energy, which reignites her passion. The key is subtlety. Never brag, never flirt with others in front of her. The effect works precisely because it's understated. She'll feel it, but she won't have proof, and that mystery will keep her engaged. 22. Build her anticipation through storytelling. Humans are wired for stories. A good story can captivate someone far more than facts or compliments ever could. When talking to her, don't just share events. Build suspense. Maybe you start with, "I probably shouldn't even tell you this," and then pause, forcing her to lean in. Or describe an experience in a way that teases the climax. "So there I was, standing in the middle of the street, completely shocked, and what happened next? Well, you wouldn't believe me." This isn't about manipulation. It's about engaging her imagination. When she's hanging on your words, she's emotionally invested. The same psychological mechanism that keeps people binge-watching shows will now keep her hooked on you. Over time, she'll start associating you with the thrill of anticipation, a feeling she won't want to live without. 23. Become the guardian of her secrets. When a woman shares something deeply personal, she's handing you a piece of her inner world. Most men either brush it off or use it to get closer in a clumsy way. Instead, treat her secrets like sacred artifacts. If she tells you about a childhood dream, a hidden fear, or a past heartbreak, don't just listen. Hold it. Protect it. You don't need to give long speeches about how much it matters. Simply remember the details and reflect them back later. Maybe months after she shares her fear of thunderstorms, you casually bring over her favorite tea on a rainy night without mentioning why. This creates an almost spiritual bond. She'll feel deeply safe with you, and that safety will grow into fierce loyalty. In her mind, you become the one person who truly knows her, and she'll never risk losing that connection. 24. Use the paradox of presence and distance. One of the most addictive dynamics in human relationships is the push and pull between closeness and space. When you're fully present, be fully there. No phone distractions, no half listening. Make her feel like she's the only person in the world. But then, when it's time to part ways, don't drag out the goodbye. Step back gracefully and disappear into your own world. This contrast creates a powerful rhythm, intense intimacy, followed by clean separation. Her brain will replay the last moment of connection, longing for the next time she gets that full presence. It's like a song with a perfect beat. She'll crave the next note, and only you can play it. 25. Make her laugh in a way no one else can. Humor is often discussed in dating advice, but most men misunderstand it. They think they need to be constantly funny or tell elaborate jokes. That's surface level. True obsession-building humor comes from shared resonance. It's not about what's objectively funny. It's about creating a unique wavelength of humor only you two share. Maybe you invent silly nicknames for random objects when you're together. Maybe you develop an ongoing joke about a quirky habit she has. This private humor becomes a kind of emotional glue. Even when she's apart from you, something will remind her of your shared laughter, and she'll smile involuntarily. It's a subtle form of addiction. Every laugh she has with you deepens her desire to return to the source.